first round pick. Hey, throw that list away. All right.
Why are we around?
Yo, welcome to the show. It's a Chiefs Blitz night. Breaking down the plays, keeping everything tight. From Mahomes to the defense, we give you the scoop. Real talk, real stats, we the ultimate troop. This ain't no game, it's our passion on display.
From the baby himself.
Chiefs Blitz podcast, real fans unite. Every touchdown scored, we ignite the night. From tailgate chatter to post-game debate, we love our Chiefs, yes, never too late.
I would even bring MVS back in the middle of the season.
What? Are you ready for the best Kansas City Chiefs insight? Welcome to the Four Guys in a Bar, sponsored by ChiefsBlitz.com, presented by UnderdogFantasy.com. Here's your Chiefs Blitz host, Nick Athan, with Lou Montagna, Andre Tillman, and Hense Todd.
Welcome to the next edition of Four Guys in a Bar, presented by ChiefsBlitz.com, your top source for Chiefs news and analysis, and of course the place you can find the Four Guys in a Bar podcast. I'm your host, Nick Athan, along with Mr. Hense Todd, Mr. Lou Montagna, and Andre Tillman sporting the big Leo cap. Obviously, Ninja Turtles is his favorite.
DiCaprio?
You got damn right. You goddamn Skippy is. Yeah.
Hey, it's all about the Italians today. It is Republic Day in Italy.
Yep.
Jack Caglianone got called up to the major leagues. It's a great day to be Italian. But then again, every day is a great day to be Italian. Let's go. Let's do this.
All right. Hey, before we get started, I want a big shout out to all the Kansas City community who had the help the Big Slick KC event in Kansas City. They raised $4.5 million more for Children's Mercy. They have now accumulated over $31 million since they began that process 11 years ago. And kudos to Jason Sudeikis and all the guys from Kansas City. We really appreciate those efforts. It was a lot of fun. I know some people who work on that event, and nice to see all the Kansas City famous people come together for a great cause and help the kids at Children's Mercy. So shout out to all of them.
Where were all the tweets? Usually it's like a nonstop barrage.
There were a lot of them over the weekend. I thought there are a lot of defining moments for what was posted online, but George Wentz was Jason Sudeikis' uncle.
Yeah.
And he passed away, and they played the theme for Cheers at the very end, and they all sang. And it was a gut wrencher. That was such a great show.
Everybody yelled Norm.
Everybody yelled Norm. So sweet. A lot of great Norm clips out there. If you're a big fan of the show, and obviously a big fan of George, just scroll. There's some really great ones, and he was a terrific actor, and I know some of the family, and I know that it was a hard loss for them. So rest in peace.
Also, shout out to Ruben, Cancer Clear, and Mr. Diaz that's in the chat. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into our sponsor of the show, and that is Underdog. Baseball is back.
That's right. Baseball is back on Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you cash in today. You can play the Pick'em game. It's very similar to what you did with the NFL where you're doing the Chiefs stuff. Now it's all about baseball, and especially the Royals. You can go higher or lower. It's really simple to use. Their app is amazing. You just choose your entry fee. You decide what you want to play, and you just see the winnings coming if you know what you're doing. So take a swing today and make sure that you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, and they're going to give you a meatball right off the gamut, Bobby Wood Jr. special. So start with a W for your first entry and new customers. Make sure you use the code Chiefs Blitz.
That's right. Our amazing sponsor, Underdog. We'll make it real easy here. The Four Guys in a Bar podcast, all I got to do is hit the QR code, put in the word Chiefs Blitz as your promo code, deposit $5, play $5, and then you get 50 extra bucks to use for your fun times ahead playing this amazing game. NBA playoffs are set for Thursday. NHL playoffs, I think, are set for tomorrow. So very exciting time. If you like the finals and who will go to Game 7 remains to be seen, but you can play the game using your favorite players for both teams. You can also do other things with the NCAA baseball tournaments going on as well. So enjoy the processor, men. Use the promo code, put in the word Chiefs Blitz, deposit $5, get 50 bonus credits, and you'll get a personalized item from my collection of vintage Chiefs cards whenever you sign up.
Hey, real quick, man. Who is Coach Andre Tillman? For real. I'm looking like.
Oh, I love it. I don't know who that is, but
We've
maybe
got
it's
a
Mango.
real troll.
It's got to be
Sweet.
Mango.
Oh, snap. Coach.
That's cold.
All right, that's cool.
Hey, you got your first stalker. How impressive. It only took almost 2.5 years.
I kind of know who that is. I think I know who that is. I think I know who that is, man.
First might
Well,
be.
hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Is it Serial Mom? They're probably Serial Mom.
He's
Probably
just a fan of the show.
Just
I
a
love
fan
it.
of the show.
Coach,
Thanks for playing, Coach.
Oh,
Come on
I
in.
might send you one of my football cards just for the hell of it.
Come on
I
in.
already know who the hell it is, man.
The water's warm.
It's probably
Kareem's
correct.
ass
No,
is
it's
funny,
not.
boy.
Well, we welcome you. We welcome you to the show. Please make all the fun you want of Coach. We're good.
Oh my God, I'm sitting here looking at Coach and Coach Andre Tillman. I say, all right, whatever, boy.
No, it's not Mango.
When I first seen it, I thought it was your son. I was like, maybe is it Lil Dre? You know, maybe, but nah.
Man, it ain't Lil Dre. I know that. On the hell that is.
He's out heading
It's
off to
Mango.
college.
That's who it is. It's Mango. I know it's Mango.
No,
It's
not.
gotta be Mango. Mango. That's Mango's. That's Mango's up at Mango's alley right there.
That's what it is.
How many times can you say mango in 10 seconds?
That was pretty good.
I think
Mango,
Hensley
another
just hit
mango and mango.
just hit the
Mango
Guinness
alley.
book there. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
man.
Wow.
So with that said, guys, we're going to get into the blast of the past.
Come on, with
Talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, basketball players that helped them get to this major run that they own right now. 3 Super Bowls back to back. Something ain't never been done. And with my eyes, I ain't seen done. But hey,
I watched the Bills do it 4 times. Yep.
so with that said, go and get into the first question of the day, Lou.
So here we go. Right off the top, what was the single most important factor in the Chiefs' rise to becoming a dominant force in the NFL?
I think that for 100.
Well, I mean, obviously, if we're talking about the resurgence of the Chiefs, first Andy Reid coming, and then Alex Smith, and then Patrick Mahomes coming in and settling in as, the franchise savior. This is the guy who has completely carried this team. He has brought he took the weight of this entire franchise on his shoulders, especially when he had his first playoff game against the Colts at home. And he admitted that he felt it. He felt like 50 years of failures in the postseason was all on him to correct. And, he played a great game. Obviously, played a great game against the New England Patriots a week later. But he took that drive, and the Chiefs were smart. They were brilliant. The only time I'm going to give John Dorsey any credit whatsoever for this football team is the fact that he skewed the Buffalo Bills into moving 17 spots to get the savior of the franchise, Patrick Mahomes. And he's the guy that, he took over for the Lenny Dawson era, all those eras of football in between. But the domination is the fact that this kid, a once-in-a-generational player, came in and said, I'm going to take this on. And he was willing to follow in the shadows of my hero, Len Dawson. And Andy Reid was the perfect coach. And they are now in a position to where they could be just dynamite.
Yeah.
Come on, Hense. What do you got?
What are you laughing at me for?
I'm laughing at, they said, Coach
Andre is having a little fun here today.
Losing to Joy B, baby.
What's it for you, Hense?
But for me, it had to be I'll say it had to be Clark Hunt when he took over. He took over. He said, "I'm gonna change this, the narrative of this team. I'm gonna go out here and get Andy Reid interview him at the airport. Brought the man all the way back to Kansas City, and ever since then, the Chiefs' history has been changing forever." So I know some people say Patrick Mahomes or, the GM or, everybody answered probably Travis Kelce or Patrick Mahomes. It had to start with me. Hey, Clark Hunt, man, to say, hey, you know what? I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of seeing banners flying over my stadium. I'm tired of seeing fans wearing all black in the stadium with bags over their head saying, 0-13 and stuff like that. I'm going to go get a coach that can change the culture. And that's what happened when he went to go get Andy Reid. So I had to get all kudos to Clark Hunt.
Well, you said Clark Hunt. I'm
Jeffrey,
gonna go Andy
Jeffrey
Reid.
Lurie. How about
I'm gonna go
Jeffrey
Andy
Lurie for
Reid,
getting
man.
rid of him?
Yeah, man. I say
Jeffrey
I'ma say
Lurie
Andy Reid,
gets
man.
some props.
Yeah. But Andy Reid is a big dog in this, gentleman. Andy Reid is the guy that changed the culture of Kansas City. Even with Alex Smith, man, them boys have been dominated ever since Andy Reid stepped in. So I got to definitely go with Andy Reid. Andy Reid is the man. Andy Reid, the one to put all this together. Andy Reid had the system in place. The only missing piece was Patrick Mahomes. He already had the ingredients. He had everything. The missing piece was Andy Reid.
Yeah, those two. I mean, obviously Patrick and Andy Reid that's the low-hanging fruit. It's no question about it. But again, it is Italian Republic Day. They didn't start winning Super Bowls till Mr. Steve Spagnuolo showed up and coached his defense. So I don't know what you guys are watching. They could have scored a ton of points. They would have continued to score a ton of points, but Mr. Spags in Spags We Trust shows up and immediately defense is being played. Games, even more games are being won. Super Bowls are being won. So for my money, let's give it to Spags.
Yeah, I agree with that because that was going to be my take, but I said, Lou started the show off saying it's Italian Day, and I didn't want to go ahead and take Spags right off the
a glorious day, man.
Well, ain't that something? Ain't that a blessing? He said, "You know what, Lou? I ain't gonna take that from it's your spotlight. You go ahead and take that, sir." That's what's up, man.
Being awful gracious here today.
Let's go. Keep them rolling.
Let's go.
How's the Chiefs fan base evolved during the era of success? This is going to be some interesting feedback, I believe.
Yeah, I remember the Camaro head days and the bags. The bags. I was one of those guys who was wearing the bags at Arrowhead Stadium. I admit it was a long time ago. Kind of something we did in as part of a school kind of thing. But, listen, the fan base has always been fickle. They've always been supportive. It's been an interesting combination. And every year in that 50-year gap, the fan base has gone through everything they could possibly go through, from the Steve Fuller days, the Dave Craig, the Joe Montanas, the Steve Bono, the Elvis Gerbachs, all these guys that we thought were going to bring us back to the heyday. And then Derek Thomas comes along and Neil Smith and all these great players that come along through the process and Priest Holmes. And you just look at it and you say, when is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? And the fans were upset.
The chat. Look at that picture.
That's Eric Hicks. Played for the Chiefs for, I think, 9 years.
Baby.
Yeah, 9 years. He was really good. There's Priest Holmes. I mean, again, all these guys – we all thought, well, these guys are going to come in and they're going to change the culture. But for the fan base, listen, even with the success, there's Eric Berry. Even with the success that we've had recently, you still have fans that take this personal and they're still active and they still get into it and they're still critical. God, I'm obnoxious on game days. I'm terrible. I'm probably the worst fan of all because I say some really stupid things on game day just to get out my frustration because I know at times the team can play a lot better, but the evolution of the current Mahomes fan base is far different than the one Lou and I had growing up with.
Mm-hmm. I have to say, a lot of people are gonna, probably get upset with me. But again, the fan base was good. I was a Chiefs fan, rocking. We didn't have quarterbacks. We had Tyler Thigpen and everybody else. Patrick Mahomes come along. Now Taylor Swift is, taking the fan base to another era. So I say it had to be Taylor Swift when she came over here. It changed the fan base. I mean, bringing in more young girls, bringing in all the girls that watch more of the some of the girls like I'm just watching because I want to see Taylor Swift. I'm liking the Chiefs because I want to see Taylor Swift. Is she gonna be at the game or something like that? So if that right there put the Chiefs in another fan base in another atmosphere. We was here, we was good, we was known for the loudest stadium, the parking lot barbecue, but Taylor Swift, when Travis Kelce made that chess move and said, hey, checkmate, this is what I'm going to do when I throw out the X, I'm going to checkmate with a better one. I'm going to get a better girl, and he got Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift, I think, changed the fan base forever, putting us more and more in the spotlight and more and everything else like that. So obviously, it had to be Taylor.
There we go, Coach. Get out your can of gasoline. Let's do
All
it.
right, put it on there.
Listen. I'm gonna say this. I think the winning, the success of Patrick Mahomes, this definitely changed the fan base already. Like I said, you know how dedicated this city is to winners. You know what I'm saying? When Mahomes came in, the fan base changed. It was people overly jumping the bandwagon. It was cats coming out here, man. Don't even like the Kansas City Chiefs. Can't stand the Kansas City Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? But when Mahomes came, the fan base changed. I never seen a one-sided city. I'm like, wow. I'm like, it took one guy with a mohawk to change the fan base forever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna say it was Patrick Mahomes because we never had a thrilling quarterback. We never had a quarterback that can light it up. We never had that franchise guy. I love Trent Green. I really do love Trent Green, but Patrick Mahomes was the guy. He was the answer. He was like the creative player on Madden. That was Patrick Mahomes, man. So to me, what evolved this fan base to change the air was Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, well, he's the first homegrown quarterback that they've had that's worked out. And they really never, I mean, outside of Todd Blackledge, never really used a first round pick on a quarterback. In terms of, I think, how it's evolved during this kind of run of success is that, I mean, all the different things that you guys have talked about, the Taylor Swift effect, all these different things, winning the Super Bowls, the team has more of a national base. It's more of a national team, arguably America's new team. I mean, I can see it just here. I mean, I've lived here most of my life. I spent some time in Florida back in the late 80s, early 90s, right about the time that Marty got there. But I've never lived in Kansas City, so I really can't speak to kind of that experience. But even when Marty was the coach, it was always Arrowhead had a vibe, right? Yeah. And I think that's continued. But just the national part of it, where there are fans everywhere now. I see Chiefs fans here in Erie. I mean, at that time, if I'm flying a Chiefs flag or something like that, I'm by myself. I would go to the local establishment before I had NFL Network, or not NFL, but the NFL ticket, before there even was an NFL ticket, to watch the games on satellite. And I'm sitting by myself.
I remember those days.
I see cars, just in my neighborhood with Chiefs, paraphernalia, whether it's a license plate, a sticker in the window, or whatever, which is just amazing to me being here in Erie, Pennsylvania. So that's kind of the thing, the national part of it. And whether they love them or hate them, this is America's team. So that's kind of how it's evolved.
Yeah, that's how, before we move on to the next question, go ahead and get some of these questions.
Yeah, Coach John Dre is kind of taking over the chat.
Yeah, we'll see. John Harrison, I'm old enough to remember. I was one of the people sitting at Arrowhead in the 80s in December, 18,000 fans in a big stadium. I truly appreciate every bit of success. I mean, I tell people all the time, you can't take this era for granted. And Tommy Hood, there's a lot of bandwagon fans these days, but who cares? The diehard fans will be around after the dynasty, and I've been a fan since the Steve DeBerg days. So, yeah. I mean,
can you tell us more about Steve's? I don't know. Go and keep telling us.
Well, Steve DeBerg was
another former 49er quarterback.
Yeah, another.
Not for Bill Walsh, but yeah.
That was the third 49er quarterback, I think, in Chiefs history. Steve Bono, Joe Montana. DeBerg was all offense. I mean, he could throw the rock. He had a beautiful spiral. He was tough as nails. He was passionate about playing football. He was a great leader. And if people remember when he broke his hand or broke his finger, they put a couple of screws in there. He put a cast on. I think he threw for 300 or 400 yards the next game. And he's just got basically 3 fingers and one in a cast on his left hand.
On his throwing hand.
Yeah. And he just slinged the ball, and he was great. I ran into him about a year ago, a couple of times. We did a roast with him with Christian Okoye's foundation a year ago. And then I ran into him in the airport and we talked for a bit. He was just one of those classy guys, party animal. If you've seen the movie North Dallas 40, that was Steve DeBerg. the main kid, the main quarterback in the movie, Mac Davis, who played that role, rest in peace. That's who Steve DeBerg was, and that still goes down as my favorite football.
Yeah, I mean, journeyman quarterback. He had been in San Francisco. He'd been in Tampa Bay, and and San Francisco was awful at the time.
No,
Tampa Bay, awful. Yep. But he always had. At some point, I don't remember who it was. One of the national guys started referring to him as Freddy Krueger, that you couldn't kill him, right? And he's out there playing with this big thing on his hand. I mean, that was Marty's best team, I want to say.
I think so.
That they go down to Miami, and I was down there at the time, and it was during the playoffs, and it was against Dan Marino. They had a lead, and there was like this phantom holding call on Dave Zott, who I think was a rookie that year.
Yep.
Okoye had ripped off a long run, maybe 30, 40 yards. They were in field goal range already. They're probably going to score a touchdown, win the game. Gets called back for holding. But DeBerg was just a consummate guy, just a gamer, gunslinger.
So what caused his release? What happened to him?
He was old when
he was old when he got to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And he actually, to his credit, he became a quarterbacks coach and worked with a lot of NFL starters for decades. He was the guy that a lot of people went to. He had a camp down in Florida where he lives, and a lot of famous quarterbacks of those eras and those of a later time, all went down to work with Steve DeBerg. So he was one of those guys. I actually got a Steve DeBerg helmet around here somewhere, but he was special, and he brought a lot of energy. Again, I agree with Lou. That was Marv Levy's best year. I think as the quarterback, they should have won that football game. It was just crazy the way it unfolded. But, that's the way the ball bounced in that 50-year time period. It's just everything that could happen. And you look at the Andrew Luck game and you look at that game and, the Colts playoff game. I mean, all these things, the ball just bounces weird. One single play or one single penalty, and that changed the fortunes. And that's just the way it was for 50 years until, I
mean, they're primarily, defensive team, run the ball, make plays in the passing game when they're there. So you get behind, or Marino, you keep giving him chances. Eventually he was going to score. So, anyway.
So let's get to the next question.
Let's go, Freddy Krueger, Steve DeBerg. All right. So here we go. What was the most iconic game or moment that defined the Chiefs' rise?
Nick.
Well, that's a good one. I think for the rise, I guess it would have to be. Well, I can't do this. It's got to be two plays. Okay, so the first one was the Mahomes pass to Tyreek Hill in the Ravens game. I think that's when we all kind of 4th and 10. Playoff season on the line, home field advantage on the line, and I think that's the moment where we thought this kid has got something really special. And then, in the second year of his playoff career, Patrick Mahomes, the pass he threw to Sammy Watkins, in the fourth quarter against the Titans to seal the first Super Bowl appearance for the Chiefs in 50 years, to me, was such a watershed moment for me, because it was like all that 5 decades of just pure pain and misery and a lot of ups and downs just all fell away. And that one play, and that's when I kind of knew that this team was going to be really special going forward, because they put the dagger in, they took care of the Titans. The Sammy Watkins throw, to me, just the whole evolution of that entire play, the crowd saying Sammy before Mahomes threw the ball because he was so wide open. It was just a very special play for me. I mean, obviously you could look at Wasp and a few other things, but for me, those two plays to me defined that I knew this Chiefs team was going to be different.
I say the Texans, man. I said, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
But
we're going in order here today, okay? In case you missed it.
Nandre.
Yeah, it's good. I had to go with for me, the defining play and the defining game for me was the back of the end zone 49ers, the Chris Conley, the rollout, Patrick Mahomes. I was like, oh, we got a quarterback We got a guy. We got a guy that's not going to sit there and take sacks. We got a guy that's not going to sit there and just, give up on the play and just throw the ball away or just stare down one receiver. We had always had a guy that stared down one receiver, but seeing him roll out to the, roll out again, then bow and find him in the back of the end zone. That was like, okay, we got something here. I think we're going to go far with this here. We got Patrick Mahomes, number 15. Also, not even that. The pass in preseason against DeMarcus Robinson, with DeMarcus Robinson having the whole sideline going nuts, and that play right there. And then that game is kind of defined the moment for me. Like, okay, we're going to have something in preseason, and, seeing it happen in the season, then here we go. We here today. The Chiefs coming out their third back-to-back, back Super Bowl, and they lost to the Eagles. But hey, it's still the rise, and I want to see more to come. Go ahead, Coach.
I'm gonna say Tom Brady, the AFC Championship game when they lost in overtime. I think that to me was the defining moment where I knew the Chiefs was going in the right direction, man, because he went toe-to-toe with Tom Brady, Mr. Film God himself. He went toe-to-toe with that guy, man, and earned Brady's respect. Then on top of that, going into the playoff against the Texans, man, that miraculous comeback to me, that was the moment I knew the Kansas City Chiefs was for real. That was the defining moment. That was one of my favorite defining moments for the Kansas City Chiefs, man. But when you go toe-to-toe with Tom Brady in OT, man, just the whole game by itself, you knew it was a changing of the guards. It was Tom. So I'm gonna definitely say that game right there for me because Mahomes gained Tom Brady's respect.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't go wrong with just about any of them. There's probably a handful, but and I've probably told this story on a show, in the past and on this show actually. And just for me I think it was Patrick's, third start overall, if you count the Denver one the year before. So it was game 2 of 2018. It was in Pittsburgh. I was in the stands, and usually when I went to see the Chiefs in Pittsburgh, it never ended well. It just something always went wrong, or it was a blowout. It was just like, oh my God. Patrick threw 6 touchdown passes that day. It was like from the get-go, it just looked like a track meet. They couldn't keep track of Tyreek. Kelsey, he's still scoring at Heinz Field right now, right? It was just such a great feeling to be sitting there among those Steelers fans. And finally, just looking at them with, in my red garb, my Chiefs hat, and just kind of nod. I didn't have to say anything. I knew what they were thinking. MF and Ben all up and down, like the guy's won 2 Super Bowls, and he's like, get him out of here, whatever. But no, that was a great day for me. So I'm gonna go with my own personal game in Pittsburgh.
Let's go and get into some of these, Nick.
All right, Demisha, the scramble in the AFC title game against the Titans, definitely. Patrick Mahomes running down the sidelines in the last 40 seconds. Again, another huge moment. That was the that was in the same game, which kind of elevated him. Got up flexing after he scored Eric Fisher's crushing beers with fans. That play was pretty awesome. You got to love Eric Hicks, man. Former first-round pick, gave it his all. Had a great career. For Tommy Hood, there you go. Get your hands off the keys, Nick. Big moment for me was week 1 in 17 when we beat the Chargers. Mahomes threw a 40-yard touchdown pass. I think that was Sherman. I was like, wow, I've never seen a little
wheel route down the side.
The wheel route. More wheel routes, please. Andy, I'm calling it right now. You got some running backs now that can run that wheel route, with Smith and Elijah Johnson. I'd like to see that play return. They did a lot of it with Ward. When it was Ward, who's the running back from that playoff game against the
Spencer Ware?
Spencer Ware, that's it. They did a lot of that with him too. So definitely want to see more of that.
Yep. Yeah, so let's go. Hey, let's get into the next question. Lou, I'm gonna raise it up for you here. Hold on. There it is. Go ahead, sir.
All right. What lasting impact will this era have on the Chiefs' legacy and the NFL as a whole? That's a deep one.
That's really deep for a Monday, first Monday of June.
Hey, I had all weekend to think of it.
I think Lou said it. I think Lou said it back. This is America's team. You can see all you want about the Cowboys, but they haven't won squad in 30 years or 25, 30 years, whatever it has been. The Chiefs are the it team. I mean, they got more postseason games. You either love them or you hate them. There's no in between with the Chiefs. They've reached that New England Patriots level of play. They're the Eagles, the Giants. I'm not the Giants, the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Bills. Even though they lost 4 straight Super Bowls, they were still a dominant dynasty type of team. And they've got the players on both sides of the ball. They've got the coaches. They've got the GM. They got everything it takes. And I think if you look back at the whole evolution of the last 7-8 years, you have to kind of pinch yourself. But for the NFL, this is the it team. They're making a fortune. Hence, you make a great point. Taylor Swift has come into the organization, and she has brought a whole new fan base. The Chiefs on every nationalized TV game, they send a record. So for the NFL, the legacy is cash cow. For the Chiefs fans, you can say comfortably, despite the loss of the Eagles, you finally have a dynasty team. We don't know how the dynasty is going to end. We don't know how many more Super Bowls they're going to win. We have no guarantees going forward. But over the last 6, 7, 8 years, I don't think there's a team that's more talked about in Kansas City and outside of Kansas City than the Chiefs.
Yeah, I have to agree with Nick. Also what Lou said earlier, the Cowboys fans, hey, this is America's team. You can I know the Patriots had their era and everything else, but the Bulls, I even say this Chiefs team and Patrick Mahomes era is up there with the Chicago Bulls. Also hey, this team I feel like it's going to be changing the NFL forever. Because Patrick Mahomes changed it, right? It's quarterbacks in the NFLs now coming out and throwing like Patrick Mahomes, the sidearm throw, this and that, coming out the pocket. Hey, I can't wait to see what happens, what's going to happen next. But the era has changed. It's more young girls that's watching this sport now than ever since Taylor Swift came over. And I feel like their legacy is going to grow more and more and more and more and more. Patrick Mahomes is only 29, be 30 this summer. So, hey, I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. You got coach.
Nah, I'm going to say, Chiefs are the number 1 team in the NFL and probably the number 1 team this decade because of the love and the hate thing, man. You know what I'm saying? They hate winners. And the Chiefs are hated because they're winning. So let's put it right there. So they are America's team. The Cowboys hasn't been relevant since the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're looking at this team right now, the Chiefs are everything you want in the team, everything you want to root against. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, yes, they're going to leave a lasting legacy. Like Mahomes, I feel like the Mahomes era. You know what I'm saying? Because you've never seen nothing like it, especially in the kingdom. But, yeah, definitely, man. I think Andy Reid and Mahomes definitely did something special to put them up there with the Chicago Bulls, Bo.
Yeah.
Well, they're definitely the team of the 2020s. We'll see beyond that. We'll see how whatever Philadelphia does the rest of the decade. We'll see, or if any other team kind of steps up, but I doubt it. At this point, it just hasn't been proven. So they've kind of got that piece of things. So you're telling the story of the NFL. The Chiefs are going to be a very prominent part of it, especially this year in terms of the Chiefs year, the Chiefs legacy. I mean, this is basically going to be it. I don't know that maybe years from now, or if somehow they draft the next one, as Patrick's on his way out the door and and Veach is still here and he's continuing to build, maybe, but, in terms of the Chiefs, it may not ever get any better than this. I mean, this is an amazing run that they're on. And the NFL is taking it full advantage of everything they can. The specialty games, overseas, wherever they can get them in a standalone, they're going to send them.
Yeah.
What if they trade some of their draft picks and go get little Manny that's coming out from Texas and they say, hey, this year we're going to draft another quarterback. Well, I would like
it won't be that soon.
little early for that, I think. But, okay.
And maybe another Manning sibling or another Mahomes sibling. Who knows?
Yeah.
And Lou, you make a great point.
Peyton has a kid, Marshall.
Yeah,
he's got to be
yeah.
like 12 by now.
Yeah, he could be by the time Patrick retires, he could be a candidate for the Chiefs. Heck, his father almost came to play for the Chiefs long ago, so who knows? Listen, I think Lou, you make some really good points too about you never know when this is gonna end, and this probably is the last dynasty that we're probably going to see in Kansas City, unless another unicorn quarterback comes along and all the other pieces and fit together with the head coach and the GM and ownership spending the money. And I think the hard part is what people don't talk about is the salary cap keeps going up, and owners have to spend more and more and more and more and more money, even though they're making record numbers. At some point, the business of the NFL gets in the way. And kudos to Clark Hunt for not allowing the finances to get in the way of paying great players, giving Brett Veach the financial resources to do what needs to be done, and putting all that money into escrow for all those guaranteed contracts. And I think we are in the perfect storm. Let's just enjoy the bubble till the bubble bursts. But I don't think it's going to burst for a while.
All right, let's get to the next question, the last one.
All right, gang, let's go. Which player from the past or present best embodies the spirit of the Chiefs dynasty?
Priest Holmes.
Okay.
Boy, we're talking about the current dynasty. So, let's move past.
Past or present, anyone.
For the past.
When I was thinking about making my made question, is like you can take and bring into, bring in and out.
I think for me, I'm going to go with my childhood hero, Lenny Dawson, because he came to the Chiefs and, the Dallas Texans in 1963, I think it was. He was already 31 years old. And for him to come in and they, he wins a championship in Dallas and they come to Kansas City, he gets them to Super Bowl I. He gets them to Super Bowl IV and just magically just destroys the Minnesota Vikings, the Purple People Eaters defense. And he changed that culture in Kansas City, but they didn't really know the negative side. They didn't know the downside. They'd had success in Dallas. They obviously got to 2 Super Bowls in the 60s. They won that. And then who knows? I didn't think it was going to spend 50 years. So I think if you look for a guy that everybody in every generation thereafter, including Patrick Mahomes, talked a lot about, Lenny Dawson and what he meant to this franchise. And there are a lot of guys like Ruben says Okoye and Thomas said for Derek Thomas that embody the Chiefs. But I think Dawson set the tone of what can be done. And I think Mahomes carried that torch based on his respect for Lenny Dawson. He spent a lot of time before his passing, and they were able to he made him understand what it means and what he had to sacrifice. Because those AFL days, Lou and I remember those guys were warriors. There was no great equipment and there weren't the rules that they have today. And it was a very more violent game.
Well, the elephant and the money.
And the money, obviously. These guys are working second jobs.
Are joining kind of like this rebel league, right? And at the time, I don't think they had like a very big television contract right off the bat. They did get one soon thereafter. I think NBC started covering like some of the national games and so forth. But, you're taking a chance. You're rolling the dice because there was I think those players kind of had a stigma on them. Mm-hmm. If you go and play in the AFL, that you're pretty much done. You're not coming back.
Right.
And I think, if there was collusion, that would have been it, because those owners would have probably just held a grudge and said, no, we're not bringing any of those guys back. And then finally, when the wars started, in other words, they were out signing NFL players to futures contracts that were under contract to NFL teams. And then the NFL tried to grab the kicker from the Bills, one of the Gogolak brothers. That's when they're like Al Davis famously said, there's your merger. As soon as they came after one of their players, then yes. But if that doesn't happen, they may have just gone by the way as the USFL and you never hear about it again. So all credit to the guys there. Now, it was an opportunity for a lot. And you want to talk about Chiefs history. in using the HBCUs and a lot of guys that wouldn't have had opportunities to play in the NFL. And these are Hall of Famers: Willie Lanier, Emmett Thomas, Buck Buchanan, Curly Culp. I mean, you got a bunch of guys. So just, don't forget the history and where this team came from. But, if you want to just stop the question at embodies the spirit of the Chiefs, forget about the dynasty part. Any one of those guys that was on the first Dallas Texans team, you could say.
I agree.
You know what, though? I think Ruben said something real quick. Ruben said Alex Smith. And Alex Smith's been my guy before Mahomes, man. Me and Bo a couple years ago, we was debating about that. I said Alex Smith embodied the Kansas City Chiefs. We know the excitement of Patrick Mahomes when he came and he threw at everybody with his gunslinging arm and all that hootenanny with the whole Mohawk deal. Alex Smith was right there from the new era of the Andy Reid era. Alex Smith was the guy. No, a lot of people would say, well, it's Alex Smith's fault that they didn't go to the Super Bowls and lost a couple of these games. No, it was the defense side of the ball. That's why. But Alex Smith's been there. And also, Ruben, I got to agree with you, Ruben. Alex Smith first year, he the one that honestly took his time and mentored Patrick Mahomes as well. So we got to give Alex Smith some love on that one. There it is.
If it had to be a guy, man, it's and to like Lou said, if I had to just stop the question there, the guy that had the spirit for me that made me really love the Chiefs even more is that man Eric Berry. Eric Berry put this team on his freaking back. What he had to. This guy was out here balling him and got a goddamn Jamal Charles. Those guys, I feel like, body the Chiefs. And I know we had Patrick Mahomes coming along here and there, but hey, those two guys there for me, my eyes had to be the guys that, carry the spirit of the Chiefs. Even though Jamal Charles went to go play in a Broncos uniform, it doesn't matter. But Eric Berry has to be that guy that, that set the tone, that set the leadership, that set the what you had to do to be a pro player, to set the what he did around the community, the things that he was out here doing, battling cancer and coming back to even play, coming out. He was a fan favorite, and still today, is probably one of the biggest fan favorites out there. Also, what he did in the locker room, like he set the tone in the locker room, what you had to do there as well. So it had to, for me, man, it had to be Eric Berry. I know some people in the chat, what they had to say. Well, who was there?
Obviously, love Priest Holmes from Ruben.
My guy.
John makes a good point. If you haven't seen the documentary Rebels with a Cause, the story of the NFL, it's on HBO. I think you can find it on Max. I think, Derek Thomas, obviously, it's too bad he wasn't around. But I want to piggyback on something that you said, Hense, about Eric Berry. So when I was covering War Paint Illustrated, story time here. So when I was covering War Paint Illustrated, Eric Berry was the 5th overall pick. Scott Pioli was a no-brainer draft pick. But they really had some contentious conversations about his contract. And back then it wasn't slotted like it is now. And so Eric shows up in day 2 of training camp. And so he got there that night after the first practice, and they had the team dinner, and he stood up and he said, "Hey, I just wanted to apologize for not being here at the beginning of camp. I had some things we had to work out. We got it done. I'm here to do whatever it takes to win." The next morning, the rookie hazing began, where the rookies have to carry the veterans' helmets down the hill and back up the hill. Regardless if you're a first-round pick, a seventh-round pick, or an undrafted free agent, you had to carry 4 helmets. And if anybody's been to St. Joe and knows that hill down to the field and the hill going back up, it's not an easy walk. And then to go out there and practice or be in pads all day. But, he never made any excuses. And I thought the year after he recovered from lymphoma was the best year of his career. It was inspirational. I go back to the Atlanta Falcons game where he had the pick 6 and then the interception on the 2-point conversion that won the game for the Chiefs. He just was a remarkable guy. Injuries kind of hurt him a lot. He got injured toward the end of his career and he probably could have played a little bit more the last couple of years. But to me, I will as a pure reporter and the love of the game that I have, that was one of the coolest things that I witnessed for a guy who's a 5th round pick or just got, I don't know what the guarantee was back then, probably 30 million or so guaranteed. And he's out there apologizing to his teammates and carrying their helmets the next day, where he could have paid some guy to carry the helmets. And that's what you want. That's what you build a franchise around.
It's pretty unprecedented too for a safety to be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, that too.
So that was a pretty big deal because you just didn't see it. I mean, there were certain positions that you just did not take in the top 10: guards, safeties, tight ends. It was almost taboo. So that he was kind of a trendsetter in that as well. So yeah, kudos to him, his family, and anybody he's ever played for, because he was a pretty rare dude.
Yeah, he still gets back in his hometown of Atlanta right now. He runs a lot of foundations. So
that's one guy. If I can bring back to put on the current Chiefs, it'd be Eric Berry. I know I'd say Jamal Charles. I know I'd say Marcus Peters, but Eric Berry, that locker room, that leadership on the field and off the field, man. The kid was incredible. I mean, when me and Dre started Black and White Tees, we was reaching out to players and stuff to come out. He messaged and said, hey, he would stop by, but the Chiefs didn't let him come down there because where the location was. But again, he didn't have to do that. But he did. But that one player, that's the guy that, I think embodied the spirit of the Kings. And when you think about, when I tell the fans, I'll say, this is Kansas City Chiefs. This is what the player you want to look at. I know Patrick Mahomes, take him out of the equation, but Eric Berry will be that guy for me. So that was the show today, guys. So if y'all have anything else to talk about, go ahead and go for it. Go ahead and get in the chat, Nick, if anything in there. Let us.
Tommy Hood said he agrees with Ruben. Okoye was awesome. Loved his work ethic. Hense and I had a chance and Andre to interview him about a year ago when he was doing his book tour, and couldn't be more of a humble individual. He was something special. He was a Nigerian nightmare. I was watching a film clip. Somebody posted something where he had one of those 50, 60-yard runs of his that were so vintage, and he just, he had everything. He had power, he had speed. Another guy, John Harrison, lunch pail. Timmy Grunhard, same thing. He took over for future Hall of Famer Mike Webster. In fact, it was Webster who went to Carl Peterson and Marty Schottenheimer and said, hey, this kid who they drafted number 2 out of Notre Dame as a guard, moving him to center. He goes, he's a better center than I am. Don't hurt the team. He needs to go play. And he started virtually every game that he was healthy for the remainder of his career, all in Kansas City. And another thing Tom said, I mentioned before, but, the late Derek Thomas, just it's too bad he wasn't around. It would have been interesting to see what kind of ambassador he would have been, what kind of things he would have done in his 40s and 50s. And he's all time one of my favorite, and also a little love for Tyrann Mathieu from Coach Nandre Tillman. I wasn't as much of a Mathieu fan as most, but he did a really, really good job too. So,
if I had to choose between, Ray Lewis or
we don't talk about that name on this show.
I talk about Ray Lewis or Tyrann Mathieu or Eric Berry's speech to get you riled up for a game. I think I'd take Eric Berry, man. Eric Berry.
You would take Eric Berry over Ray Lewis.
Pregame
speech. I mean, like some
pregame speech over Ray Lewis.
Yeah, some of the stuff. Ray, he's
the hell with all that, boy.
Guys would be preaching. Hey, I do have something that's sort of on point. So this app that I have called The Score, and I just keep track of scores, and occasionally they have stories. And they did their all half decade team recently, best players from the past 5 seasons. So, of course, quarterback, no question, it's Patrick. Okay. Running back, Derrick Henry. Now, this is 2020 through 20 till now. Wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill. So we have to claim, at least one or 2 seasons of that. They have him down as Chiefs Dolphins. Tight end, of course, no question, it's Travis. They've got a flex receivers, Devontae, Offensive tackle, they've got Trent Williams and Lane Johnson. I don't think you can argue with either of those two guys. Guards, Joe Tooney, Patriots, Chiefs, and Zach Martin, just retired from the Cowboys. Center, Jason Kelsey, obviously retired. Edge rushers, TJ and Myles Garrett. Interior defensive line, Aaron Donald and Chris Jones, of course. Linebackers, Fred Warner and Roquan Smith. Corners are Jalen Ramsey and Patrick Surtain. Safeties, Justin Simmons and Minka Fitzpatrick. They've got a wild card defensive back and Marlon Humphrey. Kicker, of course, recently released from the Ravens, but Justin Tucker. So
there's a big asterisk on that one.
And then AJ Cole, punter for the Raiders. So the Raiders get some love, and then return specialist Cordero Patterson. But, you know, the Chiefs obviously well represented by the top, you know, the main three guys and the guys that are going to be Hall of Famers. And when we talk about, you know, this run of the Chiefs or this part of the NFL history, you can't tell the story without those three guys. So, again, I don't think it was any upset that this particular app had those guys on the first team of the half decade.
Hey, Tillman said, who's the long snapper?
They didn't vote that position, coach, but please feel free, nominate somebody.
All right, Tillman, you hear that?
We give it to Winchester.
Right,
just for the longevity of his career.
Winchester's got a pretty long tenure doing it for one team, so why not?
Somebody put the R instead of the I, you know.
Well, I don't know. Did you guys? How did you guys feel? Was there anybody that was glaringly?
Well, I mean, Nandre says Larry Fitzgerald, and Larry hasn't played.
He wasn't really playing.
Yeah, he didn't play as much.
Yeah, I mean, that was like tail end of his career. Then he was retired.
Zion.
He's pretty much everything to do with Cardinals. The Chiefs that he mentioned were also former Cardinals and tight end Leonard Pope, who was like 6'10" or whatever. And Steve Preston, one of the greatest high school athletes I've ever seen.
One of the greatest hype wide receivers of all time.
Played at a high school not too far from me, about 100 miles down the road. You know, played at Michigan. Was he was something as a high school player. Saw him a few times.
But I have a question for everybody. What player in the past, one player in the past that you would put on this current team to get them back to the Super Bowl? That one player that you think that can get them back to the Super Bowl, and that person will take this current team over the hump.
For this team, we can pick anybody in the NFL.
Anybody in the past Chiefs team.
Give me Derek Thomas every day of the week. I mean, just to have a player on defense that you have to game plan for every single time, that is just going to make everybody in that front seven a better player, that's just going to dominate this. He would lights out, because offensively, I think they're going to score points regardless. Whoever they put out there, it may not be to the liking of some of the fans in terms of how they do it, but throw him on that defense, and he and Chris Jones on the same line, Furious George on the other end. Come on now.
Give me Willie Roaf. Give me Willie Roaf.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because we all know that they're having issues. That boy will seal the deal. We had get Willie Roaf out there, man. Yeah. Mahomes and Jamal Charles come on this team. Anybody going to shine behind Willie Roaf?
That's a very good call. Yes, William T.
I don't know. For me, I mean, you guys make obvious choices, but give me Priest Holmes in his prime when he was unstoppable with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I love Jamal Charles. Don't get me wrong; it's a tough one, but I think Priest embodied the guy who was playing behind Ricky Williams, didn't get a lot of love at Texas. Goes to Baltimore, wins a ring, barely plays. Dick Vermeil comes in and trades for Trent Green and gets Priest Holmes in an afterthought deal. And I think when you look at his career, and it was cut short by injury and contract negotiations, as one of the two will always end the era for an athlete. But I think if you had him in today's team, this Chiefs team would score 35, 40 points a game.
Easy.
it wouldn't even be that hard. They would be undefensible. Undefensible.
Yeah. I'll say one guy that didn't have a quarterback that he had a quarterback to ever play with. I have to say Dwayne Bowe. Give me Dwayne Bowe. If you get Dwayne Bowe with Patrick Mahomes,
he's not a third down guy, man.
He was a third down guy. He was just
he was. I'm just saying, like, the Dwayne Bowe did not get that much love because he had what, Matt Castle, and that was, that was it. If he put him with an elite quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, I think that would be lights out. You know what I mean?
Catch the ball when you need to catch the ball to move the chains, man.
Hey, don't go and talking stuff about Dwayne Bowe.
My bad. I'm just saying.
If it was me, it had to be Dwayne Bowe. If I could bring the guy back from the past and bring him in here and let him play in the Chiefs uniform now, Dwayne Bowe, Rashid Rice, Hollywood Brown, Worthy, and Travis Kelce, that would be unstoppable.
Wait, time out. No Jamal Charles.
That's a lot of. Well, you can only take one, and we
only take one.
You put Bowe over Jamal Charles. I'm disappointed. I am disappointed. I'm disappointed. He went. I knew for a fact he was going with Jamal Charles. You said Dwayne Bowe.
I think they got Jamal Charles and Smith, man. They got from.
We haven't seen Smith yet. We haven't seen Smith play.
I seen him play.
Doesn't matter. He already fits the gold jacket. I don't want to hear it.
But has he played yet? I'm shocked. I'm appalled, Hense. I'm appalled you did that, sir.
Give him till November, and that kid's going to be electric.
Just stick with Rofe, Coach. Just stick
with Rofe. You picked a good. We all had to pick.
Well, we got Park Elijah Mitchell. I guess so. We'll see if we get on there.
King Mo said Tony Gonzalez or Larry Johnson laughing out loud. Who else they gonna? I can't see the rest.
John said,
I think he's laughing out loud at Dwayne Bowe. But no, that's Debo. Forget about Debo Samuel. That's the real Debo.
That's the only Debo as far as I'm concerned.
Oh my God! I know Bo was trolling. I know he was trolling.
Jay, if you think about it, like what quarterback did Dwayne Bowe play with? Besides,
those are all good points, but I guess. And again, you can pick whoever you like, and I'd take him too. But if you can only choose one,
that's how we get here.
Going
Coach.
on the defensive side of the ball, somebody that I don't know, in this day and age, probably going to guarantee at least 15 sacks a season. That would, to me, would be much more valuable.
So you saying DT would be more valuable
than another offensive player? The only other one that I would think. And I think Coach hit the nail on the head is to have an all-pro left tackle.
Yeah.
Either the guy that's going to sack the quarterback or the guy that's going to protect the quarterback, because all the other offensive pieces are maybe not to the level of some of those guys, like a Jamal or a Debo, whatever, but you have guys that can get that job done.
Exactly.
There's two that, in my opinion, Rofe and Derek Thomas, that would be a
immediate game changers. Yes, immediate.
And I know they said Dwayne Bowe played with Alex Smith, but Alex Smith is
Alex was a good quarterback. I don't want to hear it.
He's no Patrick Mahomes. If you put him with Patrick Mahomes,
why can't people ain't giving Alex Smith no love, man? Because Alex Smith is still my guy. He still was the chain mover.
I like Alex.
He was a chain mover, man. That boy Alex Smith put in work, man.
Alex was the perfect guy for Coach Reid coming in.
Yep.
Perfect guy, because they kind of installed that pistol offense within the West Coast system, and he was kind of ahead of the curve with some of the read option stuff and just Alex running the ball. So I mean, he was certainly limited abilities. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to give you an argument that he was a great quarterback, but he was a great leader.
Right.
Always going to be, the hardest worker, and everybody's going to follow him. So absolutely. He was he was perfect to get them to Patrick.
Exactly. And here's the thing is, like, even when he went to the Redskins, he still did well. He just got hurt. Like, he was still bringing them boys along. So Yeah.
Alex Smith, I don't think we seen the best of Alex Smith when Patrick Mahomes and Rob. Nothing against Alex Smith. When Patrick,
we saw the no. That's not fair. No. I'm going to slash
Come
that.
on, come on, talk to him. Nick.
I'm going to cut that from the tape.
when this young guy came in, hey, the men say, "Hey, I can throw it 50 yards down."
Who taught Patrick Mahomes to be what to expect to be a starting quarterback in the NFL?
Come on, talk to him.
Who took him under his wing?
There.
No. I don't want to hear your shit.
Alex Smith was
Mute yourself.
phenomenal.
Yeah, buddy.
Don't make me mute you.
No.
Without Alex,
Well, I don't know if it was because of that, but in Hense's defense, Alex did have his best season in Patrick's rookie year.
well, that's why they traded him, and that's why they got a good draft pick for him, and that's why
25 to 6 in TD interception ratio got them.
Listen,
well,
he went through that BS
in the playoffs.
I don't know. He went through that BS in the 49ers with Colin Kaepernick, who took his job.
Yeah,
And then he comes to Kansas City, and the Chiefs tell him, "Hey, we're going to draft this guy. He's going to be your heir apparent. We want you to work with him, but we want to be honest with you and let you know what our plans are." And what did he do? He not only had the best year of his career, but he also mentored. He taught him how to be a professional.
A leader.
He taught him how to practice.
Absolutely.
He deserves as much of a Super Bowl ring as anybody in Chiefs history.
Thank you. God damn it.
For what he did and Patrick says it all the time. Without Alex, this doesn't happen. Without him sacrificing so much of his time to teach me the things that I didn't really know or understand, he taught me how to be a professional and a leader. I don't want to hear it, Hense. You're cut off.
And his family, I
don't care if you're running the show or not.
If his family situation is different,
Yeah.
I could see him being an outstanding coach.
I love Alex Smith.
And Andy's asked him multiple times.
And I think Andy would, welcome him with open arms, quarterback coach, and just kind of go up the line, offensive coordinator, and eventually head coach at some point. But I just think, the ESPN gig, you only have to work a few days a week.
Yeah.
He's got little kids. So
if you had to choose between the two, Alex Smith or Trent Green, which will you take it? Which will you take it and say,
that's
hey,
tough.
That's
yeah.
tough. Well,
I think
I love Trent Green. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead, Nick.
For the totality of what he meant to the franchise, I would go Alex Smith.
Yeah.
For Trent Green, he did restore order. He was Dick Vermeil's handpicked quarterback. He had some great years. He made one bad play in the game against the Colts in the playoffs that cost him 7 points. Nonetheless, he was a warrior. He got hurt. But Alex Smith, we owe so much for the new generation of Chiefs fans who didn't know anything but 50 years of losing. Alex Smith had as much to do with the Chiefs' current Super Bowl run as any other player in team history that didn't get a ring, in my opinion.
Do you agree?
I'm not going to take anything away from Alex because I appreciate him that much as well. But something tells me that Patrick still would have reached the heights that he did, but maybe not quite as quickly.
Yeah.
Right. Or if he'd have had to play right away, is it the same dynamic with then just talking to Alex about, just kind of on the sideline, him being the mentor and Patrick being out there playing? It worked out perfectly. You're just sorry to see Alex's career in Kansas City end the way it did. But I think everything you said is correct in terms of what he meant to Pat, and just kind of like that master's level year of just mentorship, tutor, whatever hell you want to call it, but that he couldn't ask for anything better.
You know what's crazy? I love Trent Green, I do, but as far as athletic ability, I'm gonna go with Alex Smith because
Alex could move. Now
Alex can move. He can, like I said, he got wheels, but he knew when to run. He was a great game manager, man. You know what I'm saying? He always made the right plays. He always put Kansas City in the right position. Now, credit. If Alex Smith was playing against the Bengals that year when Joe Beasley went to the Super Bowl, Chiefs win that game because he ain't making no bonehead mistakes. I gotta go with Alex Smith right there. That's all I'm saying.
Now, again, I don't know if Trent could have evolved into it, or I don't know that he had the wheels to do it. But in today's NFL, having the ability to move is almost a prerequisite of playing the position. So you'd have to say Alex, just because of the way the game's played now, where Trent he was better in the pocket.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good. Good.
If I had to choose, it'd be Trent Green. Trent Green went neck to neck with one thumb head top me. Well, Peyton Manning. We went to neck with the great. You know what I mean? Battle, punch for punch, blow for blow. It was many a times that we thought that we was out of the game, and Trent Green will launch it up to Eddie Kennison going down the sideline.
Shout out to Eddie Kennison, man.
If Trent Green, I know we say Alex Smith gave Patrick Mahomes, he helped him tie his shoelaces and everything else. But hey, if Trent Green could probably do the same thing. Trent Green could have did the same thing. If Trent Green was in here this day of era, I think everybody was saying, hey, Trent Green will be the guy. You know what I mean?
Trent at 42 years old or whatever he would have been by that time.
but let's put some love on that offensive line that Trent Green had.
Hey, maybe Trent's kid is the next Chiefs quarterback.
Trent Green had the best offensive line in Chiefs history.
Hey, Priest Holmes said 600 plus receiving yards behind that offensive line too as well. Along with about 1,400 on the ground.
That offensive line was the heart and soul of that team, and it was a beautiful thing to watch. They really didn't have to pass the ball a lot.
I know a lot of people say, a lot of Chiefs fans came aboard with the Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes eras, but a lot of Chiefs fans came along too with Dick Vermeil and Trent Green,
with Dante Hall and them, boy,
them as well, man. That man, Trent Green, man. I've seen a lot of tans around town. A lot of people were walking around. All you see was Trent Green on the back of them. The number 10 rocking Trent Green. Hey, and he was, on and off the field. The man was, intelligent. Hey, if I had to choose, great dude. If I had to choose between the two, give me Trent Green.
Hey, DS ain't lying, bro. There wasn't a punt that damn game, man. I said they went toe to toe.
Trent just had just horrible luck with going to different places and like a different quarterback stepping up ahead of him.
Yeah.
Then the injury, we may never, it may have been a different greatest show on turf.
Who knows where Kurt Warner would have been
if he doesn't get hurt in that preseason game. So
I was so hot, man. Priest Holmes
there, and when he got drafted to San Diego, was I think was
the 10th round pick
there at the time, or was that who was there before Breeze? This was going. That's going.
No, it was before Breeze. He was a 10th round pick out of Indiana, I think.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think of.
I don't know if Fouts was still there or not.
Flutie and maybe even at the end of his career, Jim Harbaugh played there.
Yeah, that's true.
He said what y'all think about Matt Castle or Trent Green?
No, there's no question.
Take it easy. Come on, man.
I
took Damon Heward over Matt Castle every time.
Damn. God bless him for what he accomplished. I don't know if he played a full quarter of college football.
No. He cost us when he was at
USC. I think he was behind who's the guy what's his name? Carson Palmer. I don't think Matt ever really played much.
Matt Castle was an assistant quarterback, man.
Back to Alex Smith, he want to take shots at what I said about Alex Smith. Alex Smith beat the Titans in the playoffs. If they just put Patrick Mahomes in that game, he was on the sideline. I said, "Look, we can score a touchdown."
If Darrelle Revis doesn't throw a touchdown pass to the Titans quarterback, that's the only reason they won that football game.
Yeah, that would have been good one.
And the hit by Derek Johnson that caused the fumble that they called down on contact.
That would have been a good one for Darrelle Revis to catch, right?
Yeah, that was the stupidest thing. He doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame for that play.
You know what's crazy? Darrelle Revis did play. He did play for the Chiefs, didn't he? He did play for the Chiefs.
Damn, Blake, where have you been, man?
Blake, we miss you, man. Revenge tour begins.
Hey, don't forget about YouTube, Blake. We love.
Hey, Coach. I know that was you,
Facebook,
Kareem. Everybody know that was Kareem. I know that was Kareem playing. But that was a good name, though. I love the name, though. Andre Tillman. You got jokes, bro. But honestly though, Alex Smith to me is one of my favorites, man, because he was a heart and soul of the Kansas City Chiefs under Andy Reid. He was a heart and soul.
He brought respectability to the franchise.
No doubt.
What? Trent Green brought it all back.
Okay. For those who don't remember how bad it was before Andy Reid got here, with the Scott Pioli,
I remember that.
The horrific.
Yeah, there was a period after
Todd, whatever
Trent.
his name was.
Yeah,
and you got Romeo Crennel, who was a good dude.
I like Romeo.
Great defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
great defensive coordinator, terrible head coach. You had all the fighting and the feuding and all the stuff that happened. This was the worst franchise in the world. And Andy comes in and says, hey, Clark, I know it's sexy to draft a quarterback, but we're going to need to trade for someone that I can work with. And he convinced him to give up 2 second-round picks for Alex Smith. And it worked out perfectly. He was the perfect quarterback to bring Andy Reid's offense to light with his skill set. And he elevated the Chiefs program. Now, Alex didn't win much in the postseason. I think he was 1-2 when it was all said and done. But he did elevate this team and rise expectations.
It was a really, really deep hole to dig out of.
Yeah, you're talking about like the worst of the worst team. And probably that 2-14 team was probably one of the worst teams, not only in Chiefs history, in NFL history. They were terrible. There was so much infighting going on. There was so much chaos. And there were so many bad things that happened. And then then Clark says, I'm going to hire the guy I want to hire this time. He passed on Mike Shanahan years and years ago. And he wasn't going to make that mistake. And so kind of going back to Hense's, going full circle here, Clark Hunt made decisive decisions to change the fortunes of the franchise, and getting Andy Reid and also approving the trade for Alex Smith helped reset the tone of the franchise. And then it was up to Andy and all the players that came thereafter to build it into what it is now.
And here we are, 95 days to kickoff. That was our look back.
Yeah.
Nostalgic, heated.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys
informative,
right?
Comedic.
But hey, we welcome all Chiefs fan, old and new. And if you just beginning to being a Chiefs fan, we welcome all you guys. Please subscribe to our show. We bring,
especially if you embrace the YouTube experience.
Yeah,
that's what we really want.
You ain't getting no other shows like this, guys. So with that said, guys, please subscribe. And we want to thank everybody for joining in, even coach, non-coach.
My guy Tillman, my guy CD Tillman.
What's up, Tillman? We welcome you, man.
Still getting his Cardinal stuff in there.
It's love, man. It's love from the other side, man. That's all.
Jeez,
we good.
So with that said, we'll see you guys Wednesday with Chiefs Who.
Peace out.
Go.